just focus solely on that. But, I mean, in terms of, I guess promoting the brand and giving it attention, yeah, we're going to do that. Even if it's not the easy thing to do. The easy thing to do is go pop on a Big Ten or SEC and just go full bore with that. We'll have some and plenty of that. But, yeah, we're going to give the Big 12 the attention that it deserves because it does deserve it. I mean, look at some of the accomplishments over the last year alone. They're right there in the thick of things. They're not going to be the richest. They're not going to be the most powerful. But, damn, if they're not going to be amongst the most competitive, you can't argue that.
K. Hustle, at this current moment, there is nothing special about Colorado, Nebraska, or Missouri, so losing them hasn't been an issue. You make a very good point.
I do wonder if there's a study or something that's ever come out to see like what was lost ultimately. Like I wonder how different the TV deals would have been, the last one, if they still had the setup that they had. But then again, like how do you factor in West Virginia and TCU and now these 4 schools? Like what would have, something had to give or something wasn't going to happen for those schools. So what would it even look like at this point if a couple of those hadn't left? Would Texas and Oklahoma be going to the SEC right now? If A&M had never let, there's too many moving parts to really know for sure, but it would be interesting to kind of see if you had a magic ball that you could just, ask anything. Like, what would the Big 12 look like in 2022 if they hadn't had 3 rounds of teams leaving? That I would be curious to know because, I mean, if anything, those are state brands. That's, that's Nebraska. That's Colorado. That's
Missouri.
That's geography. That's whole states that you have audiences in that you no longer have. And I don't know how much they've helped, like you said, the other conferences. They certainly haven't won much of anything. That's for sure. But have they been a boost regardless because, hey, they helped with the TV deal? I mean, that's what you didn't just miss out on swimming and diving championships that Texas now gets to run because Nebraska's no longer competing in it because they were competitive in that, or what A&M competed in, or Colorado, or whatever. You got a little bit less of that competition. You may have still won a bunch of titles, but how much did you lose just in terms of that audience factor and that TV network factor? I'm curious to know.
Even though they have sucked for longer than I want to even think about, they still, for some reason, are a team that does bring interest.
Yeah, Nebraska. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because that's what we grew up with. We like what we grew up with. Look, when that's kind of the Top Gun Maverick factor. Like before we even knew it was good, we wanted to see it because we grew up with it. So and look, Craig, you mentioned on A&M. Leaving, I mean, all those other schools. I do think in Texas and A&M's particular case, I don't think it's the biggest factor, but it can't be ignored that when A&M left for the SEC, Texas's general attitude was like, good luck making any money or doing anything without us. You clowns.
Yep.
And then they're both different levels of not winning championships, but Texas enters into the longest consistent period of mediocrity in its football history, and A&M has a Heisman Trophy winner and is on CBS and all these big national games and getting excited. Like, that had to do part of it. Like, wait a minute. They were supposed to fall on their face completely and be just above Vanderbilt. Well, they're doing the exact same thing. A&M is doing the exact same thing in the SEC that they were doing in the Big 12 and making more money.
Yeah, and making much more money.
Yeah,
and it was an arms race of who had the bigger budget, who had the best revenue, who had that's only going to just continue to be an arms race.
We had a coworker one time who they took away some responsibility for her, and I said, well, she was very upset about it. I said, well, did they cut your salary? No. I said, so you can do the exact same thing minus one thing and make more money or make the same. Sounds fine to me.
Yeah, that's a great, yeah.
And then, if you can do the exact same thing and make double or triple the money that you were making, then why not do that? It's not about, like, people think it's not about championships, but it's not, because you can make that much more money. And I think that Texas looks over at that because they used to be able to bully everybody and enjoyed bullying A&M a little bit and realized, oh, this is not the school that was here anymore. It's different.
They've actually moved on without us, even though those two are just like, get a room. From Clint, great content and